Right now, you are the most feared predator on Earth. Bigger than lions, above sharks, ahead of wolves. A research team hid speakers across the African savanna to test it. Elephants and rhinos fled a human voice twice as fast as a lion's roar. Step outside, and that same fear surrounds you. Deer freeze at your cough from half a kilometer away. A crow you wronged once can remember your face for years. Yet a few animals reached the opposite verdict about us. They chose to sleep beside us, follow us, and look to us for comfort. So what is really going through an animal's head when it stares at a human? Start with crows, since their memory is unsettling. In 2006, John Marsliff at the University of Washington ran a test. His team wore a rubber caveman mask while they trapped 7 crows. They banded the birds, then released every one unharmed. After that, anyone wearing that mask got mobbed and screamed at. The crows dive-bombed the caveman face on sight. A separate neutral mask walked the same paths and got ignored. The birds had tied one specific face to one specific threat. Then the grudge spread to crows that were never trapped. Young birds learned the dangerous face from their parents. Years later, that mask still triggered scolding across campus. Marsliff tracked the reaction for well over a decade. One trapping event became a warning the whole flock kept passing on. Crows are not the only ones running facial recognition. In 2009, Doug Levy at the University of Florida studied mockingbirds. A volunteer touched a nest briefly on 4 separate days. By the 4th visit, the parents flushed the instant that person approached. Different people walked the same route and got no reaction at all. The birds had singled out one human face on a busy campus. Even honeybees can be pushed into this skill. In 2005, Adrian Dyer trained bees to link human photos with sugar. The bees picked the correct face and held the memory for days. A brain smaller than a sesame seed sorted our features. Pigeons in Paris did something similar in a 2011 study. Researchers who had chased them stayed threatening even after swapping coats. The pigeons ignored the clothing and kept watching the person. So many animals begin with one detail, the specific person in front of them. They track that individual along with a record of past behavior. The second layer is threat level, and it runs deep. Elephants sort humans into groups the way we sort strangers. Karen McComb and Graham Shannon tested this in Amboseli, Kenya, in 2014. They played recordings of men speaking from 2 local peoples. Maasai men sometimes spear elephants during cattle conflicts. Kamba men mostly farm and rarely harm them. At a Maasai voice, the herds bunched together and retreated. The same words in a Kamba voice barely moved them. The elephants also heard age and sex inside the voices. A woman or a boy speaking Maasai got a calmer response than a grown man. They had built categories of human, ranked by how often each one kills. Scale that logic up and a bigger pattern appears. In 2023, Liana Zanette and Michael Clinchy ran a study in South Africa. They hid speakers at waterholes across the Greater Kruger. One speaker played human conversation. Another played growling lions. Filmed at night, the animals showed their honest vote. Elephants, giraffes, rhinos, and leopards fled the human voices. They ran about twice as often from us as from the lions. Many bolted before the human recording even finished. Lions are the classic top predator of that landscape. Across the savanna, we outrank them in the eyes of the prey. Zanette calls our species the planet's super predator, and the data backs her. So a second thought forms whenever a wild animal sees us. This shape kills more of us than anything else out here. A small group of animals reached a completely different verdict. Dogs spent thousands of years rewriting how they read us. Brian Hare at Duke tested puppies against wolf pups raised by hand. He hid food and pointed at the correct cup. The puppies followed the human finger almost right away. The wolves ignored the gesture and searched on their own. Faced with a sealed box, the difference grew sharper. A wolf keeps clawing at the lid until it gives up. A dog stops, turns, and looks a human straight in the eyes. That glance back is the whole trick of domestication. The dog treats a nearby person as a partner worth asking. In 2015, Miho Nagasawa measured what that bond does chemically. When dogs and owners hold a long mutual gaze, oxytocin climbs. It rises in both the person and the dog at once. That same hormone loop runs between human parents and their babies. Hand-raised wolves stared into human eyes and felt none of it. A dog looking at you may be running the bonding circuit of a child. Cats landed in a stranger place inside our homes. John Bradshaw at Bristol spent years watching how they treat us. House cats greet people with the raised tail they use on other cats. They rub, knead, and groom us with the same moves. Toward other species, a cat behaves very differently. Bradshaw suspects your cat files you as a large, clumsy cat. A cat that fails to hunt you probably reads you as friendly. The aloof stare may be trust, worn in a confusing costume. Step back from pets and the wider picture turns colder. To most wild animals alive today, we are the main danger. Deer freeze at a human cough from hundreds of meters away. Birds cut their feeding short when a person lingers nearby. Badgers in Britain go silent for hours after hearing human speech. That Kruger fear showed up in a British study too. Clinchy found the same panic in foxes, deer, and small mammals. The sound of our voices emptied whole feeding grounds. Hatred has nothing to do with any of this. The feeling sits closer to the caution you hold near a cliff edge. We are a moving hazard their ancestors learned to route around. Some species took that hazard and turned it into shelter. Sparrows, rats, and pigeons built whole lifestyles on our trash. They read humans as a messy, reliable source of food. Storks in Spain now skip migration to feed at open landfills. Their map of us reads warm rooftops and easy meals. Every species writes its own version of who we are. A crow sees a face to remember. A deer sees a killer. A dog sees a parent. A landfill gull sees an easy meal. So what do wild animals actually think about humans? It depends entirely on which animal you ask. For a raccoon in a city, we are opportunity on two legs. For a rhino in Kruger, we are the thing that clears the water hole. Almost none of them think about us the way we imagine. Admiration and awe almost never enter the picture. Each one runs a running estimate of risk and reward. They watch our hands, our eyes, our speed, and our history. A few cracked our behavior and moved straight into our lives. The rest decided the safest human is a distant one. Next time an animal holds your gaze, remember it is judging you. It is deciding in that second whether you are worth the risk.